Students, welcome to part B of lab number one. If you recall, in part A of lab number one, we created our initial DT table. I have it up right here. All right, we got movie name, the link, the HTTP link for the individual movie pages, the href reference. This part is actually probably meaningless. The year, the rating, the vote, important. Director, somewhat important, and the name of the movies. Now, I just want to point out, I just ran this code again as I do this video, and the bottom keeps changing, which is pretty cool. So that goes to show that, you know what, the data's still live, people are still voting, et cetera, fine. So I know that in my data set that I posted for you guys will see how I posted it. My last movie was different than this one, which is fine. We'll work, it's fine. It still serves our purpose for what we're trying to do here. So this here, the link column, that is the individual links to the individual movies, and we want to now go through each one of these, go to the individual page, and get other relevant data, right? So in this case, I want to go to the individual page. I think I have it here. Let me go ahead and grab it for you. Right, so here is our individual pages. Look, this one's even different again. So let's go to Shawshank Redemption. And that's the link. If I click on it, right, it goes ahead and it takes me to the individual page. And from this individual page, I want to go ahead and grab a couple items, right? I want to grab the little storyline here. I want to grab the director we already had grabbed. I want to grab the stars, I guess. We have that information too, but we might as well go ahead and grab it. I also want to grab the storyline. I want to also grab the taglines here, right? And the genre, whether it's a drama, etc., etc. If we scroll all the way down, I want to grab this information. This information is key right here. The estimated box off budget, how much it cost, the gross USA grossing money, the accumulated worldwide. Right, as we can see, Shawshank Redemption didn't have much of an international viewing. Also, if you notice, it didn't make much money over its budget. I mean, it covered its budget, which is good, but it didn't make that much money over its budget. It's important to remember that I think it wasn't a critical success when it came out in the theaters, and it just went. I think after it came out in the theaters, it just through word of mouth and whatnot, it just really exploded. And I loved this movie. I don't know if you saw this movie. It's a great movie. Fantastic movie. So anyway, we want to scrape this page, right? We want to scrape this page. Let's go ahead and grab the view source. Right, so the way we're going to work the code is we're going to basically work it just for this page and then apply it broadly to all our other videos or all our other movies, right? All our other movies. Now, the first thing I want is the stars, right? The first thing I want is the stars, right? So if I go here, and let me do a search for stars. This is what I want down here. These guys right here. This is what I want. Is this the one? There's a lot of stars. Hold on. Writer, stars. Oh, let's relaunch this page real quick. Sorry, the problem is that, see, what happened was before when I clicked on it, it went to the new page. Now this is the old page that I'm looking at. This is the one I want. This is the one I want to scrape. All right, so let me grab the URL here. And like I said before, and you'll see this again, what happens I don't know if you caught the subtle difference between this page and the other page. The first time I clicked on it, there was a massive video behind in the background, whereas in this case, there's a small video right here, right? Small video right here. So those are two different HTMLs or two different pages that we would have to scrape. We would have to scrape. I want to scrape the basic page, and this causes us some problems as we're scraping these movies. And you'll see that come up, and you'll see how essentially we deal with that. Right? Let's set up the problem first. So first, writers. Come here. Let me do my view page source. And now this code looks more like what I am looking for. Stars. Ah, there we go. See, now this is the HTML I wanted to scrape. It's a more standard, simpler page versus the more fancier one, which IMD, pops up. They experiment, like I said before. They experiment like every online business, every digital company. You experiment with your layout, your web page layouts, because you're trying to always optimize the value you're trying to deliver, right? And of course, you're trying to optimize your profit as well. And so the way you define profit in these website businesses, they're trying to see what can drive us consumers that are using these websites towards actions that allow them to make a profit. In this case, I believe they're always trying to push you to view other certain content in IMDb, right? Which increases their clicks and allows more advertising, et cetera, et cetera. Like for example, that second page, it was a movie or a TV show for something else. It's an advertisement, right? So they're getting paid for that. So they want to see if they can get you to click and find out more about it, right? Versus other kind of advertisements that they have posted in the standard page like this, right? So they're trying to see what actually works better. So this is why we have to, this is a common problem you have to deal with when you're scraping. So anyway, here we are, stars, right? Here we are, stars. Oops, I have both pages open actually. This is the stars I want. Let me go ahead and close this so I don't get confused. Ideally, we should probably scrape for both of them, but I don't want it. We'll do a more hokey, more hack. We'll just keep running it like a hack. So here's my script file. Here's my HTML file. It's actually clear to see here, right? This is what I'm grabbing here. All right, these lines right here. And it's clear to see over here. I want this. I want stars. I want this information. If you remember from before, I can get this information. I just need to go to these elements, these class elements, which will automatically grab me this HTML tag. It'll grab me this HTML tag. It'll grab me that HTML tag, right? But within those HTML tags, I just want, ideally what you could do is you could have done, oh, by the way, notice that I picked the wrong movie here. This is the Shawshank one. Right, again, it doesn't matter. It'll work for us. And this is one for Godfather right afterwards. Same concept though, same concept. So what I end up doing is I say, you know what, go ahead, grab the credit summary item, and grab all these HTML tags. Now when the HTML tags, when we get them, even though there's many HTML tags, there's the outer one, and then there's an H4 one, and there's a bunch of A's and a span all within it, it still grabs it all in one line. It'll all be encapsulated in one line, right? So let me go ahead and take this code here and start messing around with our code right here, right? So first thing I do, copy this. Okay, for some reason not letting me copy. Okay, so it's just going to be a mess. I'll just do it manually. All right, so the first thing I want to do, guys, is I want to actually get my first link. Where I'm going to get my first link. So I'm just going to use the data type, because remember, we want to set up like a for loop, something like a for loop to go through each link, get the individual page, scrape the data, and move on. Boom, 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 row by row by row. But when we're setting this up, we have to start from somewhere. So I'm going to start with the first page. So I'm basically going to take on the first link here. I'm basically selecting the first row. I'm filtering for the first row and selecting the whatever's in the column value of the first row, the link column in the first row, which is going to be the link for Shawshank Redemption. Then I'm going to go ahead and just call read_HTML on that particular page. All right, boom. There we go. Now movie.page has that data. Now hopefully it picked, hopefully it picked the HTML page I'm looking at right now, not the first one. We're going to find out in a second, because what we're going to do is I'm going to go ahead and scrape for that. Oh, this one worked. I'm going to go ahead and scrape for that HTML class tag, credit_summary item. Again, be careful when you copy and paste. Notice the quotes always get messed up, and the underscore always gets messed up as well. All right, so here we go. Now let's view it. Excellent. It scraped it, so it actually pulled in the right page. Excellent. And like I said before, it all comes back in one line. It all comes back in one line. All right. Now notice we want the stars. We want the second HTML tag. We want the third one, the last one, right? Stars. So look, we could just say, hey, let's just grab the third one and just work it, right, and get the data we want. But we don't know if that's always going to be the case. Like, we can assume that stars will always be the third one. But what if it's the second one? What if there's a writers missing? I don't know. So, the more robust and smart way to address this situation is to actually actually put all that data in like a smaller data table and just search for the one that has that stars and take the value associated with it. That's the way we want to actually play this. So first, let's go ahead and just extrapolate all the text from there. Right, let's go ahead and get all the text from it. And I called this moviedir.text. Fine. And I'm just going to take those tags and I'm just going to extrapolate all the text from it. Right? Because that's what we really want. I don't have to mess around with all that other stuff. I don't need it. I don't know why there's an error here, but it works just fine. Right, so if you check out movie.dir.text, bam, we now got the text data. See that? This is annoying. There you go. No reason why it's this space shouldn't not like that space. All right, so now we have the text. Again, we have single line text. It's moviedir.text is like an array of just 3 sentences. This one, and this one. What I was saying before is, look, we don't know if stars will always be the third element. So let's do this. Let's extract the defining the category that this data comes from, like director, writers, and stars. Let's get the categories out, and then let's get the corresponding values out, store it, stick it in a data table, and that way we can actually just select for the information related to stars, right? So now that I have the data there, next thing I want to do is I want to extrapolate the label and the value from each one. How am I going to do this? I am going to use the reg matches and regular expression again, guys. The reg matches and regular expressions. I'll call it movie.label, movie.val. All right. So movie.label is going to be reg matches, movie.dir.text, regular expression, whatever the expression we're going to use, comma, and the file we're getting it from, movie.dir.text. All right. Now, let's see. All right, I kept it fairly simple. So basically all I said was, look, this label is basically just a bunch of uppercase and lowercase letters followed by a colon. Same thing with this, same thing with this, right? So basically what am I looking for? I'm looking for letters A to Z, lowercase, letters capital A to capital Z, uppercase. So just like with numbers, when you do 0-9 and it does 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, letters does the same thing. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, blah, 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 blah. My ABI students, you guys remember this? I showed you this. You thought I was crazy when I showed it to you? Ta-da! I put the star there because we don't want just one letter. We want a combination of these letters, right? So this is fair game for basically everything in this text. The only difference here is, see that colon right there? That colon, because the colon's always at the end. So now it's looking for any combination of uppercase and lowercase letters ending with a colon. And this allows us to grab, if I type in movie labels in here, this allows us to get just, and this is by the way, these are the three values right here. There's the three values associated with each one of these rows. The director we ripped out, writers we worked out, and stars we worked out. And again, the key was the fact that we ended it with the colon. That's why it grabbed those particular ones, right? Cool. We grabbed those ones, but now I want the values afterwards, right? And again, we'll use the colons. We'll cheat and use the colons again, guys. We'll cheat and use the colons again. So I'm going to go ahead for movie.val. Right? We want this stuff. But now notice I put a additional thing I'm looking for. What's the additional thing I'm looking for? Well, you see, first I want it to start with colon, all right? I want it to have as many of those objects as possible, or symbols. But look what else is going on here. There's also commas. There's also commas. For stars, they also have commas. For this reason, I have to put in. For this reason, I have to put in the commas, right? I put in the space. The space is already there, and I put in the comma. Also, notice after the colon. Sorry, over here. If you look here, there's a /n. Right? So I would need to put the /n as well. So that means, hey, look, wherever you see a pattern of colon/n, that's the beginning of my pattern, and afterwards it's going to follow with as many combinations of lowercase, uppercase, commas, lowercase, uppercase letters, and commas, right? So that pretty much describes this, these characters we see. So when I go ahead and I run this now, and do movie.val, bam, I got what I wanted, right? So now I have the labels, I have the values, right? And now what I want to do is I just want to clean this up a little bit. I want to clean up my my text. So that's where I use the trim ws command. So movie.label. Do this. Now you see that the extra text afterwards is gone. And now I want to also do movie.label. All right, cool, excellent. Directors, writers, stars. All right, perfect. Now, you'll notice I still have the additional for my stars values over here. I still have the, see this, I still have the, colon/n. I just need to get rid of this. Guys, how do we get rid of that? G sub function, the G sub function. All right, so I'm just go ahead. I'm gonna use a G sub function on movie.val. Val. All right, sorry, that's the third parameter. The first parameter is the pattern we're looking for. The pattern we're looking for is, right? The second parameter is what we want to replace it with, nothing. I do this, type in movie.val again, and now it's nice and clean. Now we are ready to rock. All right, now we're ready to rock. So now let us take our table. Let's go ahead and create a data table from it. Let's call it, so on the slide I call this star MT. All right, we just use MT in the future. You know, I'll call it, just to keep it slightly different, I'll call it SDT. I don't want to confuse you guys, but we used MT a little bit later, so just wanted to separate it a little bit. So we'll go ahead and create this. We'll say movie.label and movie.val. Bam. Click on SDT up here. Boom. See that? Now look, it might always be the third one. All right. But this way, whether it's the third one, the second one, the first one, I'm not going to get error on the issue. Right. So now, if I just want the value, I think I said call it stars. Right. And then we'll go ahead and load it up. All right. Sweet. So I'll go ahead and call this stars. And I want it where my movie.label equals stars with the colon. Important. Now wherever it is, I will have the correct value. And you can see stars now has the values we want. I'm going to go ahead and load this bad boy into our main table, right? Our main table, DT table right there. And the way I do that is simply I do DT I equals link. Remember, this started with the fact that I took the first link value. So wherever that first link value equals is equivalent to the values in link. It's going to be only one row. Set that value of, oh, let's see, what do we call that? We called it stars. I called it stars in the table. All right. I called it stars in the table. All right. Did I call it stars in the table? I think I called it stars. I mean, there's a whole bunch of stuff going on here. I'll get to that in a second, but I called it stars. Let me go ahead and just call it stars. Equals stars. This stars is a new column being created in data table. Let me just make it capital. What is it? What is the syntax I followed here? Okay, they're all lowercase. All right, fine. I'll keep it lowercase. So this stars is a new column name being created in the DD table. This stars refers to that vector. Right, and now if I open up DT table again, guys, you see there's a new column called stars. The first row is the only one that has a value. Everything else is just naturally NA. Bam. We got it. We have to now do this for everyone. And this is why now here, I'm not going to go ahead and execute this, right, because it might cause some problems. But what ends up happening here is, let's say hypothetically, before you load it in, I want to get the stars. Here what I do is I get the stars. I create a vector called stars, and I just grow that vector in a for loop. So I create a for loop for I in dt link. So basically, I'm now going to iterate through every value in the link column, and I'm going to execute the code that we just did. I'll clean it up a little bit, but let's say we do that for loop, right? In fact, let's go ahead and do this. Right? Let's go ahead and do this. Right? With the one caveat, the one change I'm going to make, instead of this vector, right, I'm going to put it directly in the data table. I'm going to put it directly in the data table. All right? So let's go ahead and go for it. This is the code to get just stars. It was a lot of work. Right? Let me clean it up. All right, so this is like our slides, except the only difference is instead of putting the values in a vector, I'm going to put them in directly in the table. So this gives you an idea of what really needs to happen. All right. So I got this right there. Boom. Now, let me go ahead and run this. I should probably name it something else. And for some reason, we don't have an error. Okay. All right. I don't want to take too long. But let me kill this now. All right. Let's look at the DT table, shall we? You notice that even though I was running it, nothing was being filled in, right? The reason being is because, let me go ahead and actually change this back to stars. I think it's clearer if you see it here. All right, ideally we should get an error like that. You'll see that in a second. When I use this vector, I'm going to increment through this vector. I'm just afraid that they're not going to let me IMD. I've been scraping this so much. I'm afraid IMD is going to shut me down. Let me comment this out. Call the stars.val. Comment this part out for a second. All right. Let's try this again. There we go. Excellent. All right. So let's type in stars, see how far we got. And it actually failed after the first one. Right? You notice it failed after the first one. All right. Let's run this back again. right? In the slides, they say, okay, go ahead and we only finished the first one, by the way, and it actually got Tim Robbins, Morgan Freeman, so that actually worked out pretty well. But let's run it again. In the slides, I tell you, you know what? Run the for loop again, but change the vector stars to over here, and over here, just so we have two vectors to compare. But this is easy to compare. We just have the first one. So all I'm going to do is I'm just going to rerun this, the first one, and see what happens. All right, cool. And you get that error again. You get that fun. We get that error right there. The error we want. Now let's look at what happened to stars. Am I doing? That's not right. It keeps repeating. Tim Robbins, Tim Robbins. Let's see, stars.val. Just confirm the links are different. Oh boy. Oh boy, guys. For somehow. Oh, I messed up my link. Hold on. My links are all the same over here. I should have created a separate object. Oh, cool. Excellent. I did actually. Page. Sweet. All right, cool. Let me get my proper links there. Somehow I managed to. Just compare. Excellent. Now let me open up my DT table. Hmm. All right, so this should work. This should be updated. I think these are actually new links. I think my mind's messing with me. So let me go click on this. So the best way to know is just take this link, or in this case, I'm just going to take the second link and just stick it in the web. That's the best way to know. This looks like it's different, so I think I'm right. Put that there. Oops, no, that's not what I want. That's what I want. Okay, let me get another browser. All right. Let's see what's going on here. Oh, okay, I see the problem. Excellent. Excellent. That's the problem. Go ahead and copy this without the quotes. Nope. And there we go. And it's the Godfather. Perfect. All right. So my data is correct. I don't know what tomfoolery is going on here, but data is correct. Let's go ahead back down here. All right. Go ahead. Kill that. Oh, I found my mistake. For all that, I found my mistake. Guys, in line 66, we're looping I through all the links, and when I get here to 66, it's automatically just grabbing the first one. It's overriding I. Just comment this part out as well. Now I can go ahead and grab this. And we have that error. Now we have that error. Type stars in here. Okay. Notice it skipped Shawshank Redemption altogether. There was an error there. It probably went to the new page instead of the old existing one. Al Pacino, James Caan. This looks like it went to, let's just type in IMDb here. It looks like it went to the, I believe, the second right, James Caan for Al Pacino. Yeah, so it looks like it went to the second link, and it skipped the first one and went to the second link. So let's go ahead and run it again now. I told you guys in the notes do stars too. I just did stars. I'm just going to overwrite this one because we see what it is. It's Marlon Brando, Al Pacino, James Caan. I'll do it again. Got an error. Let's see what it got up to. Okay, now I got to Marlon Brando, Al Pacino, James Caan, Al Pacino, Robert De Niro, Robert Duvall. So again, it failed at Shawshank, went to the second one, got the third one, and then failed again. Again, why is this happening? It's because randomly IMDb is taking you either to the normal IMDb movie page, which is the one we want. That's what we scraped it for, or it takes us to the new one where we get an error. Boom, right? For data developers like us, that is a massive problem. That is a massive problem. Now, firstly, I show you guys here how to get around this. I show you guys here, listen, just put an if statement in there and you can run through the whole thing and then view it and all that stuff. We don't even need to do all that, right? I show you guys here, like, I mean, I'm sorry, we actually do need to do that, but my point is we're not going to worry about that right now. But just so I'm not going to run this right now because I don't want to run through the whole thing until we're ready. But if I just simply put this if-else statement in here, right? And what I would do is I would say, look, run through all those lines of code, but then check the number of rows in that temporary table. In my notes, it's MT. In here, it would have been SDT. Check to see if there's any values in this table. If there's no values in this table, I mean, if there are values in this table, the rows will be greater than 0. Then go ahead and do this part. Then go ahead and do this part. In fact, we're going to actually put another if-else statement in here, and I'll do that a little bit later when we finally bring all the code together. But there's no purpose in trying to go here and select any statements if there's no values. And that'll help prevent our error and allow us to continue through the other movies. The logic here, what we want to do is we want to keep running our code and filling in within the table as many values as we can without it breaking. So this is the only best way to do this, is put a lot of these if statements in there to say, hey, if there's any data, it looks like we're in the right, we scraped the right website, go ahead and load that data in. If not, don't do anything. Move on to the next logic. And this allows us to skip the pages where it's the new page and we can't scrape it, and allows us to get the information from the old pages. The reason we want to do this is because we want to essentially run our scraper multiple times over and over again, so that if it in one iteration, if it gets the new page, and maybe in another iteration it'll get the old page and we can get the data. And so that's basically how we're going to do a low-key effort to scrape all the data. And I'll show you guys that all the way at the end, right? But let's go ahead and move on and grab the rest of our data before we do it. So now I want to grab synopsis, right? If you look at here, I think I have my individual Shawshank Redemption page, two imprisonment, bond, boom, boom. This is what we call the synopsis. I want to grab that as well, right? I don't know if we're going to use it directly for our our classification trees, but we'll definitely have that information for when we want to apply maybe some sort of context, some sort of natural language processing to our data. So that's how we want to grab some of this stuff. So I want this, right? If you go here again, and I say, where's that information? It should be around the director. Right here. It's right here. Right? It's within the plot summary, within the summary text. Okay? Really simple, really straightforward. So what I want to do is, I go back here. I want to grab the, oh, I don't show it here. I'm gonna have to add it to my slides, but I'll do it. For some reason this step is missing. But what I want to do is I want to go ahead and grab I want to search for summary text right here. I'm gonna grab synopsis. All right. I'm obviously going to use HTML elements to do it. All right, it's right here, plot summary, and then within the plot summary, it's summary text. Okay, if I just do summary text, let me just show it. There's just one element, summary text. So you know what? All I have to do is real easy. I just have to look for the classes that have summary text. There's just one element of it. So let's go ahead and do this. This for loop, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this out of the for loop for now. And you'll see why later at the end, because we're going to use another mechanism to go ahead and do this. Now, for my purposes, I just want to make sure that the data I pull in is the right data. So again, I want to make sure I have the old Shawshank because that's the code I'm using. I'll read this in. All right, if movie.dir has data, then I'm good. Excellent. All right, so now I'm ready to go. So let's go ahead and do synopsis. So in this case, it's just summary text. You guys know the drill. It's going to be HTML elements. And I'm grabbing summary text. All right, if you look at synopsis E now, bam, it's the data we want. We just want to extrapolate the text now from it, right? We want to extrapolate the text now. Notice I put if length is greater than 0, right? Right, what is the length? In this case, length is 1. This is why I'm saying, hey, I want to make sure some data there, right? I want to make sure some data there. So what I want to do is I'm going to go ahead, grab my little if statement there. If it's not, then I don't want to bother with any of the other code. Because remember, I'm trying to avoid errors because I don't want my code to break. If we end up scraping a movie with a different format, I just wanted to skip it and go on to the next movie. So let's go ahead and get the text. All right, this is what synopsis text is going to look like. Bam, look at that. All right, let's clean it up a little bit, do a little trim. All right, let's see how that looks. Bam. So the trim in this case got rid of the space, the dash, the slash ends. Again, they mean returns. Got rid of the other stuff. Quote, I'm good to go. All I need to do now is just load that in. Oh, I did synopsis.text. All right, fine. In this case, I did synopsis.val. I just overwrote the text. That's fine. And now I'm just going to load this into my table. Again, I equals link, right? We wanted to make sure that whatever I use to grab this page is equivalent to the row in the link that I'm going to set this value to. I think my table I made a synopsis. Good choice. Equals. Then done. Click on now DT. I have my stars, I have my synopsis. Again, it's just going across the row. Everything else is going to be NA. All right. Moving right along. Now let's go ahead and do storyline, taglines, genre. All right. They're all in one area. Storylines, taglines, and genre. Right here. Storyline, taglines, Fear can hold you prisoner, hope can set you free, and the genre. Genre is important. This stuff is extra. Let's go ahead and grab it. All right, so where is the stuff? Where is this stuff? All right, inline can wrap. Oops. All right, there's a lot of these. Let's scroll down. Storyline, storyline, storyline. Here we go. Chronicles the experience of a formerly successful banker, blah, blah, blah. This is what we want. Now check it out. This, right, this is in a div class called inline can wrap, right? Inline can wrap, and then the span is within a p. There's a p object, and there's a p HTML tag, and there's a span HTML tag within that. So I got a lot of stuff going on here, right? I got a lot of stuff going on here. I got two classes first of all. So let's go ahead and grab the two classes. All right. Let's see if I can copy this. Sweet. All right, so first things first, how do you grab two classes? Well, it's simple. You just do the first class, or however many classes there are, dot inline, dot can wrap. So dot inline, no space, dot can wrap. And what that's going to do is that's going to automatically search for any class tag that has multiple classes, inline, and can wrap. All right, done in that order. From there, I want to put a space and I'm going to say P. Get the HTML tag P, and within it, bam, it's going to be this guy. All right, and within that P HTML tag, I want the span. I do space again, and the span within that, and then it goes ahead and gets this guy right here, and that's what I want. That's what I want. And go ahead and execute this. All right, do story.line again. Bam. Well, so beautiful, right there, right? From here, I want to go ahead and grab the text. Let's go ahead and grab the text. Bam. No cleaning, no nothing. I'm ready to go. And I load this sucker up too. Now load again, I do an if statement, right? I say, you know what? If, let's try that right now. Length is 1, perfect. So now I'm going to do if it's greater than 0, load it up. Again, where the link equals the value we got from I, and it's now going to be storyline equals storyline dot text. Now again, we're just doing this for one movie. All right, we can set it up for one movie, and then we can let it fly for everything else. Boom. There's my storyline. All right, but remember we want to grab also, we got all these in one space. Let's go ahead and grab the taglines and genres as well, right? Taglines is going to take a little more trickery, a little more creativity. It's going to take a little more work because of the fact that if you go to taglines right here, there's that. Here's the tagline. All right. The tagline, unfortunately, is within something called text block under dash block. And if you search for this, there's a lot of these guys. There's a lot of these guys, right? So I'm gonna have to go ahead and just grab. There's no easy way around it. I'm just go ahead and grab it. All right, and that's what I do here. HTML's movie page tag text blog, and you'll see you get like a lot back from it. Oops. Let's try it again. That's strange. Sometimes it lets me copy it. Doesn't matter. You know what? I'll just do this. Tagline. Tagline, HTML's movie page, and this time we want dot text block. Bam. Type in tagline. You see you get all this bad boy back. See that? Look at that. All that good stuff. Now again, we know tagline is the first one. We don't want to assume that. We don't want to assume that, right? Also, notice we have a lot of other good stuff in here. Looky, looky. Gross USA, we want that too. We want that too. And where are you, budget? We want that as well. So this is actually going to come in handy for us to grab other elements. We'll save that for later. We'll grab taglines for now, but we're going to save whatever. We're going to use a data table to grab this stuff because, again, we don't want to assume that tagline is the first row. But this table that we're going to create, I'll call this one empty. That's why I wanted to differentiate it from the other one. So we'll keep it around towards the end and grab the other data we want. But for now, let's use it for taglines. So again, what we're going to do is we got this object. Let's go ahead and extrapolate all the text from it. If I view tagline.text now, all right, we got the text. It's kind of spaced out like that because it's different sizes, so it's kind of hard to see, but we have the text there. All right. So again, let's clean it up a little bit. All right, looks a little bit better. Looks a little better. Let's get rid of these /n's out of it. I'm gonna use the G sub here. So just let me copy this. All right, not bad. All right. Oops. Sorry, I called it taglines in the notes. I'm doing tagline here. Let's keep it consistent. And let's look at it again. Much cleaner. All right, much cleaner. All right, so let's go ahead and load this sucker up into a data table. I should probably name it a different column just to make life easier, but whatever. Right, click on MT here now. Bam. See that? See that? All right, now you'll notice like before we didn't split out the split out the label and the values. We just loaded up to one together. We can do that in the table. All right, we can do it in the table. I just want to use it as an opportunity to show you how we use it in the table. Right. So again, in this case, let's put this all in an if-else statement, and let me show you some of the additional lines we're doing right here. So here, tagline greater than 0. All right, can't protect ourselves. And now what we want to do is we want to first, like we said before, we want to split by colon. See the colon there. Problem is, we're not sure if everything has a colon, right? Or how many colons everything has. Here we have a colon. We want that. So it seems like there's at least one colon, but there might be more than one colon, right? So in this case, before you saw us use str split function. In data tables, we have another function we can use directly within data tables, and that's the t str split function. T str split function. All right, and there, oh, didn't look like it updated. So there's a key here that should be here. All right, show you guys that in a second. So here, I thought I updated the slide for you. Give me a second. I'm going to update this right now with the proper. So let's do a little movie magic. I'm going to update this right now because this is the old code, not the new code. So hold on a second. All right, through the magic of Hollywood, I put the right data there. You gotta update your slides too. So again, back to the TSTR split function. This is our split function within data tables. And what we're doing is it works sort of the same way. Notice again, my ABI students to the left of the colon equals, we're creating two columns, right? This is why we're using the C parentheses way to do it instead of just the normal, just giving a column name, because it's more than one column. But within the parameters, right, and you'll see this clearly when I put it in R, right, I have the, the original column I want to break up. That's the same. What character I want to break it up by, again, that's fine. Fixed equals T, that's there. But I have this additional parameter that says keep equals 1:2. What does that mean? Well, basically, when I'm splitting within a table, right? When I'm splitting within a table, where are we down here? Go all the way down here, right? That's not the right code. This is the right code. When I'm splitting within a table, oh boy. All right, just do it the hard way. All right, for all the rows, I want to create two new columns. I think I create those columns as tag key and tag value. All right. TR split. That's the function we want. The column we want is tagline text. Right, we want to split it by the colon. We want fixed 2 equals true. And we have a new parameter called keep equals, and this time I put 1:2. All right, now what does this mean? Basically what I'm doing here, I'm saying, look, wherever there's a colon, split it, put the first value in this new column called tag key, put the second value in this column called tag value. What if a row has more than one colon? It's not going to split. If there's one colon, it's going to split that column into two values. If it's more than one colon, let's say it's two colons, it's going to split it into three. You'll get an error, right? Because here I'm only defining two columns, not three. Now, hypothetically, I could go ahead and I could just define three if I wanted, right? But I don't need to. What I could do here is I could say, look, I could use a key parameter and say, look, just when you split it, I just want the first and the second value. I know I want the first and second value because if I go here, taglines just has one colon. Budget has one colon. Gross USA has one colon, right? So the ones I care about have one colon, and then I don't have to worry about everything else. Boom, I did MT, click on that, and now you guys can see for yourselves, see? We created two new columns, tag key and tag values, and it split it the way we wanted it. All right, everything else we're gonna trim it up, keep it clean, just in case. All right, and finally, we're gonna get the actual value. like we did before. Let's see, it's going to be taglines, tag keys, taglines, all right. And I want the tag value. And as you can see, if I do tag.val down here, we have what we want. And now I'm going to put it in. Now notice I put an additional if statement here. This is what I was talking about before. When you're getting it from a data table, let's say hypothetically, what if taglines isn't there? Let's say there is some data, but taglines is missing. You'll get an error. So when I grab the data again, I want to put another if statement in here. In fact, whenever you're using data tables to grab data, it's always a good check to say, hey, was there actually a value for this row? Because it'll execute this line. Tag value just won't have anything in it. So that's why we want to say, you know what? Was there actually a taglines row there? So that's why we want to put this extra check right here. And then we'll go ahead and we'll update, just like we did before, II equals link, tagline, in this case I call it tagline. Equals tag.value. Done. Right? My DT, boom, taglines. All right. Now we just need to get genres. We'll get the other data set, the other data in that empty database too. Let's just go ahead and just knock out genres, right? Genres, if you want to see, it's in this tag C more inline can wrap. Where are you? Right there. See this? There's drama. Drama is within this div tag with these classes right here. C more inline can wrap. 3 definitions. C dash more inline can wrap. And then there's an A tag within it. So I want these 3 classes and then the A tag. Right? These 3 classes and then the A tag. Wow, this is annoying. All right. There we go. All right, nice. Oh, and it's empty. Right, see here, for us, it's saying it's empty, which shouldn't be the case. We should have these HTML elements here. Just double check that. And then that's drama. Yep, that's the one we want. Read that page. I'm using the right one. Oh, I don't want to run this again, unfortunately. It's empty. For Shawshank Redemption. This should have a whole bunch of genres right here. Let's do this. Let's do see more. Just to debug it. No. So that's not right. Let me parse this in again. Hopefully it's the right one this time. All right. Okay, so right, so the problem here is the dash. Guys, I make this mistake all the time. Be careful when you copy and paste from my slides. There's a lot of tricks there, including the dash. You see, this dash is not really a dash. It's something weird. So let me go ahead and delete it, right? Grab everything else. Dot inline, dot can wrap. Hey, right. Go ahead and run this. And now you see we actually have data. The problem is when you copy and paste from here, this is not a dash. It's just the way the PDF generates. Apologize for this. It's something different. But it's not a dash. It's some long length. I don't know what purpose it serves. Probably from some sort of programming aspect. But anyway, so when we type in the right classes we're looking for here, again, this one, and this one, and then the A tag within it, we get these hrefs, right? You get a whole bunch of them again, right? We get a whole bunch of them. Now we want the genre, right? We want the genre. So there is no genre term here. I don't know if you see it, but how clearly you can probably see it clearly here. There's no genre keyword. We're going to have to go into the actual attributes within the A tag and search for the genre. See here, it's all keywords, keywords, keywords. Down here, it's genres. So we're going to have to play the same trick again with the creating a data table and then searching for the genre. In this case, I think we're going to go ahead and use the grep command. The grep command will probably work fine for us. So what I want to do is here, let's get the attributes. See, we got a list object back, and clearly you guys can see here, this one has genres right here, right? Right? It's a list object. We want to put it in tables. So first things first, let's go ahead and do the, oh, let's see if I can do this. Okay. All right. Okay. Down here, we're going to make a data table out of this. We're going to take just the first element again. There's only one element in here anyway, but still, when we go through the list and we need to take the actual values, we still have to use the same sapply trick. And then, so we're going to create a new table called GNDT. And then within here, we're also going to create a new table called val. And that is simply, from the genres, we're going to strip out the text. Right, we're going to strip out the text. Go to the previous slide. Right, we're going to strip out the text because the text is where we have the data I want, in this case the drama. Strip out the test. Then we're going to clean up a little bit. with trim. Okay. Now we're going to go ahead and get the data we want. So where the row is where the attribution has the term genres in it. See, let me show you this table. See, the attribution is in the ATTR column, and we want to search for dramas within it, ATTR. All right. And I want my value. I got my gval. Bam, drama. I'm going to stick it in there. Remember, I don't think I do it in the slide. Do I do it? Slide. Okay. I don't do it in the slide, but again, we don't want to take for granted that we do have a value in there. But so again, there's something missing here in the code that I want to clarify. You don't see this here, right? But in some cases, what happens is, if let me go to the GenDT table. In some cases, you have multiple genres for these movies. Like they'll have drama and crime, and it'll just be another row, right? This will cause us a problem if we try to update the data table. This will cause a problem with updated data table because what ends up happening here is gval is actually a vector of values, and we're trying to set it. We're trying to sell one cell equivalent to a vector of values. It's going to cause an error. So one way to get around this is we're going to go ahead and call from here. We're going to say, you know what? Give us just one value. Head, comma, 1. We're just going to do one value. That way, if there's one value, it doesn't make a difference. But if there is more than one value, it's just going to give us the first one, right? And that's how we could prevent this error. Also, just like before, again, I don't do this in my notes, but it's good to, I'll update it with this, but it's good to have, when we're grabbing data from a data table, it's good to make sure that there is actually value in that data table. So put that there. And now I can run this. Bam. Go up to my data table. Drama. Excellent. All right, and now we're almost there. Finally, we can go back to the empty table we created before, and we can go ahead and we can grab the budget, the growth USA, the cumulative worldwide gross. All right. All right, I have this data already. Let's go ahead and grab the budget. It's simply, again, going to be we're just searching for the budget value, and we get the tag value back, right? So in this case, we already have the empty table from before, guys. The empty table from before. And saying I have an error. All right, let's check out MT again. sure my data is there. Tag key, budget, there it is. Tag key, budget. I'll run this line right here. Say tag val is not found. Did I overwrite empty? Oh no, that'd be bad. Oh, I called it, see that, guys? I called it tag value, not tag val. Unbelievable. All right, tag value. Again, this is going to be a little different from the notes. All right, and now budget has a value. All right, now you'll notice it's a string. We need to rip out the 25 million from this, get the dollar out, get the comma out, right? Just like we did before. Again, I'm gonna do if length budget equals 0. We'll do the reg expressions within the reg matches, and we'll get the data out that we want. So let's get out, we'll go to budget.val. Alrighty, and I want budget. Budget. And I'm just basically going to keep it simple. I'm going to say, hey, wherever we had a number, a comma, and then a bunch of numbers. I kept it very simple. I said where we have a number, a comma, and then a combination of number and commas. That's what I do here. Within the bracket, see that? Numbers and commas. So I'll just go and it'll grab whatever it sees. That's like the easiest way to do it. So I'm saying, give me a number, a bunch of them. There's going to be a comma afterwards. And then it's going to be numbers again. And there's going to be numbers and commas, a whole bunch of them. Budget.val is 25 million. See that right there? I went ahead and grabbed that. And now I'm going to take it. I'm going to do a little more, use the G sub. Get rid of the commas. And now I have 25 million. Now I just need to trim the space, guys. Right, I just need to get rid of the space. You'll notice that. No, that's not right. Hold on. This is budget val. Budget val. Oh, I'm sorry. Guys, so see how I grabbed all the space after budget? See how I grabbed all the space? I don't want it to grab the space. I just want to grab the numbers and commas. Go in here, no space. So now I'm just saying, okay, give me numbers from 0 to 9 and commas, no space. So when I run this again, now you'll see oops. Oh, okay, shouldn't have done that. All right, there we go. Now you see the spaces after are gone. We don't want spaces after numbers. We just want the numbers and the commas. That's it. Come here. I don't know why I named this budget again. That's bad syntax because that's budget. So I'm going to call this budget.n. We'll call this budget.n. All right, and now you guys can see all the commas gone, and now I can use that to go ahead and put that in my table. All right, put that in my table. And of course, I'm going to convert it into a number as I do that. So I will do what I called it, budget. Budget.n. Go back up here to my data table. Look, and you guys see all the work we're putting in just for one freaking movie. It's putting in scientific notation. We can deal with that later. I'll show you guys how to get rid of that later, but the numbers are there. All right, now we want gross USA and then gross international. All right, gross USA and gross international. Boom. All right, now I just want to get rid of the numbers, the dollar and the numbers, and I can do that again. What did I call this? Oh, A. All right, fine. Sounds good. Remember, this will give us an answer of 1. And we want to actually remove not just commas, but dollar symbols and commas. That's why I put that in there. So look for any one of those elements, replace it with the blank, and we are off to the races. See that? Got the number. So now I just want to put this in my and we call it gross USA in here, that's fine. And as that numeric, again, let's convert it to, as we do it, let's convert it to a number. Bam. Boom. All right. And finally, our last one we want is we want gross world, the international numbers. I'll just call it world, just to keep it simple. All right. It's called cumulative worldwide gross. I can just grab it from here. This one. Greater than 0. Now I'm going to say gross world dot a. Same thing as before. Just copy this. Oops. Oh, yeah, of course. All right, now I got my number, and just like before, put it in, and I am finally, we are finally done. We have all the values that we want from the individual table. These numbers are an important part. That's key. All right. Okay, great. We now have to do this for all 250 movies. How are we going to do this? All right. How are we going to do this? Lucky for us, we've been going along and we've been putting the checkers in here, right? But now what we need to do is we want to loop through each link. We just did it for the first link. We didn't want to do it for all links and run through the scraper and get all the data and put in the data table, all right? And we don't want to do it just once. We need to do it a couple of times because, like I said before, the movie page could be the existing one or it could be the new one they're trying to push on us. If it's the new one, it's going to all break, and hopefully the error checking, the if-else statements will catch that there's no data there and just move on to the next movie. But then that movie will be skipped. So we want to keep running a couple times just so that we grab all the data. The first thing we want to do is, instead of running a for loop, I want to use something else called mapply function. There's a function in R called the mapply function. It's wild function. And what it does is it allows you to take any function you create and it lets you run that function for as many different parameters as you want. In our case, what we're going to do is the movie links will be a vector of values that we want to pass into this function. And we want this function to take each one of those movie links one at a time, run it, get the data, and then move on to the next one. All right? So we're going to go here and we're going to create this function called movie.scraper. This is the beginning part of it. The rest, the full code is going to be on canvas, right? And basically what we're going to do is we're just going to take everything we did here, guys. Everything we did here. Okay? And we're going to put it into a giant function called movie.scraper. Right? And the way you make your own function, it's very simple actually. It's the name of the function, the equal sign, and the keyword function, and then whatever parameter variable you want. So in this case, we'll have something called I, and that'll correspond to this. Now, obviously, I'm going to comment this out. This is now gone because like before in the for loop, I don't want I to be overwritten. I want line 67, this part, this I, to be whatever's passed in when I call the function. Just tab all this in, keep it clean. And then this squiggly brace right here, line 150, is literally enclosing all the definitions of the functions right here. And so what happens is, right, you just highlight all this right here. You run it, bam, you're done. All right, I got a function now. And in fact, if you come down here into your RStudio under function, it's literally going to be placed under functions, and it has the function you named. Cool, huh? All right, we got the function. Now what do we do? So for the function, there's one more thing I want to do. I want to put a return value. This return value is going to be meaningless. It doesn't mean anything. We just do this so that what happens is when you call mapply, it always wants to output something. And if you don't put a return value, it's going to output the whole data table over and over again. And it's just a waste of memory on your machine. So you know what? I just always put a 1 in here just to show, hey, this thing ran. So let me rerun the definition. It'll just overwrite it, guys. Right? Now, oops, I'm in the wrong part. I'm up to here. Now, I don't want to run the whole thing because what ends up happening here is it just takes a while. So what I'm going to do is I'm gonna run just one line of mapply. I'm not gonna loop it 10 times. In this case, what I did was I ended up looping it 10 times. All right, but let me show you how mapply works. So ideally, the way mapply works is you create some sort of data container, in this case because like I said before, mapply likes to output stuff. In this case, it's going to output the return 1. And the way mapply works is the first parameter is a function you created. In this case, for us, it's movie.scraper. And the second parameter is all the inputs that will go into this movie.scraper. By inputs, I mean, see how we put an I up here, right? So this function is expecting something to go in the place of I. In this case, our URL. So I got to give it the list of URLs. The list of URLs, guys, is right here. Right here. It's with my DT table. My DT table has all the list of links. So this is one big giant vector. This vector is being passed into this function. This vector of value is being passed in this function one at a time. It takes each link one at a time. It's going to go load it in. And slowly it'll just return this output, and we're done. What I'm going to do is, I already did the first one. So just for the sake of time, I'm going to do the second and third one, just to show you guys. Oh, and it looks like it ran. It looks like it ran really fast, meaning it probably skipped those ones because it went to the new pages. Oh, okay, cool, look. Oh, it actually did it. So look, it actually did. Some of the stuff is missing. Stars is missing. Storyline is there. Taglines is missing for some strange reason. Right? That's all rather strange. But it did get the other stuff. Do you see? So that's basically how it works. So ideally, the way I would do this, right? I would obviously, the way I did it for you guys, I'm not going to do it on the screen because it actually took a long time. I wrapped this in a for loop for I in 1 to 10. So basically, I ran it for all the movies, and I did it like 10 times, right? Because in that loop, in this loop, and please don't be confused by the fact I used the I in here. In fact, let me just call it something else in here so you don't get confused. For O in 1 to 10, basically 1 to 10 is colon 10 is going to be a vector of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So basically, all this is what's happening here is I'm taking this and I'm running this function 10 times. So 10 times, mapply is going to take the movie scraper, run movie scraper for every link in our data table, and it's going to do that 10 times. And the idea here is, if I do it 10 times, then the movies that were skipped, hopefully we'll get the right layout, and then we can go ahead and use that movie, right? I mean, we can fill in the data and then we'll have data, right? Just so you guys can see, the output for is like this. Oh, it didn't give me my return 1. It should have given me a return 1. Give me all the values back. In this case, it looks like it's giving me the links back. All right, that's fine. It should give me this return. It should give me a 1 value back, but for some reason it's giving me the actual links that we ran. It's giving me the actual links we ran. That's okay, that's not too bad. All right, that's not going to take up too much. Oh, the 1's there too. All right, that's fine. All right, so in this case, guys, let's see. I just want to make sure I don't have any other. The actual full code I'm putting on Canvas. And the table, I went ahead and I created a table for ourselves too. You can go ahead and do this and mess around with it if you want. But I mean, depending on your processing power. But I went ahead and did the table anyway. I did it, if you look at on Canvas, the table's name is going to have a .rds. I called it imdb.rds. What is our .rds? We'll talk about that a little bit later. But that's how we actually can load in table into our environment. And I'll show you guys that afterwards because the videos are, I think we already went over time with the video, but we'll open up with the RDS and how you can load up the table. But anyway, I made the table for you guys, so you don't have to worry about that. But if you want to go ahead and make the table, right, and you want to play with it, please, by all means, go ahead, if you have a good internet connection. For me, it took, I think, 20 to 30 minutes of scraping. Eventually what happened, I think IMDb kicked me out. I saw some sort of IP block thing because I was scraping it so much, or like, what is going on? They kind of obviously figured out I'm hammering this thing. So at this point, this code will be up there. I'm going to stop at this point. And our next video will then be, well, our next video will obviously be the practice set to this, which shouldn't be that long because I think in practice set 1A, I covered a lot of the stuff I wanted to. I think in 1B, it's just going to be more a refresher of messing around with the data tables a little bit because we did do that a little more than we did in practice set 1. I mean, in practice set 1. And then from there, what we want to do is we want to finally load in this table and we want to start playing. And we're going to do this simultaneously side by side with another famous table that I'll talk about later. All right, with this said, everybody, thank you for watching the video. And the next video will be the one for the practice set, and I'll see the rest of you guys in class. All right, guys, have a great night.